She started on the factory floor at General Motors, inspecting fenders as a co-op student. Today, she sits at the top, the first woman ever to lead a major global automaker. Her name is Mary, and she's not just driving change. She's steering an entire industry into the future. As the CEO of General Motors, one of the world's most iconic companies, Mary is redefining what leadership looks like in the 21st century. Under her direction, GM is transitioning from a traditional car manufacturer into a forward-thinking tech company, embracing electric vehicles, autonomous driving, and sustainable innovation. But this story isn't just about business transformation, it's about breaking barriers, challenging norms, and proving that leadership rooted in empathy, clarity, and conviction is not only effective, it's essential. Mary doesn't lead like her predecessors, she leads like herself, with humility, strength, and a relentless commitment to progress. Her journey is a roadmap for what's possible when courage meets opportunity. It challenges outdated ideas about who belongs in power and why the future might just be female. This isn't a biography, it's a wake-up call to rethink how we define leadership, to elevate new voices, and to believe in our power to create real change. Because Mary didn't just climb the ladder, she rebuilt it. And if she can do that in one of the toughest industries on earth, what's stopping you? Mary's journey to the top didn't begin in a boardroom. It started on the factory floor. At just 18, she joined General Motors as a co-op student, inspecting fenders and learning the mechanics of car production firsthand. It wasn't glamorous work, but it gave her something more valuable, a deep, ground-level understanding of how the company operated from the assembly line up. That early experience would shape the way she led decades later, not from a distance, but with insight and empathy for every layer of the business. Driven by curiosity and determination, Mary pursued a degree in electrical engineering, becoming one of the few women in her field at the time. But she didn't stop there. Knowing that technical knowledge alone wasn't enough, she went on to earn an MBA from Stanford, not to collect titles, but to prepare herself to lead with both strategic and operational depth. Navigating a male-dominated industry came with its challenges. Mary was often the only woman in meetings, surrounded by voices that were louder, older, and more traditional. But she didn't mimic their style. Instead, she stayed grounded in authenticity, focusing on performance over politics and leading through listening rather than dominating. Her calm, deliberate approach stood in stark contrast to the conventional playbook, and it worked. She gained trust, earned respect, and proved herself time and again, with results that spoke louder than words. From her earliest roles, Mary cultivated a leadership style based on transparency and collaboration. She believed that people did their best work when they felt heard and valued, a philosophy that resonated with employees across the company. While others managed from a distance, she rolled up her sleeves and asked questions. She didn't see leadership as command and control, but as service and stewardship. Mary's ascent wasn't fueled by flash or ego, it was powered by something stronger: quiet strength, relentless work ethic, and an unwavering sense of purpose. In a world that often glorifies loud, aggressive leadership, she proved that empathy, clarity, and consistency can be just as powerful, if not more so. Her story is a reminder that leadership isn't about fitting a mold. It's about knowing who you are and using that to build something better. When Mary was appointed CEO of General Motors in 2014, it was a historic moment. The first woman to lead not just GM, but any major global automaker. But for Mary, the milestone wasn't the destination. It was the beginning of a monumental challenge, steering a century-old industrial giant into a radically changing future. She didn't have the luxury of easing into the role. Just months into her tenure, GM was rocked by a massive ignition switch recall linked to over a dozen deaths. It was one of the biggest crises in the company's history. Most CEOs might have tried to shield themselves. Mary did the opposite. She faced Congress, took full responsibility, and issued heartfelt public apologies. But more than just words, she overhauled the company's safety culture and internal processes. She launched the Speak Up for Safety program, empowering employees at every level to raise concerns without fear. In doing so, she didn't just fix a corporate scandal. She modeled a bold, transparent, and deeply human style of leadership that set a new precedent in the automotive industry and beyond. With the crisis behind her, Mary turned her attention to the future. She made it clear that GM would no longer be a company that simply built cars. It would become a leader in next-generation mobility. Under her guidance, GM committed billions to electric vehicle innovation, launched the Chevrolet Bolt, and made major moves in autonomous vehicle technology through its subsidiary Cruise. She articulated a vision for a world with zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion, and began aligning every part of the company to make that vision a reality. Mary also understood that the future of any organization depends on who's sitting at the table. That's why she prioritized promoting women and underrepresented talent into leadership roles. She didn't just champion diversity in words, she embedded it into hiring, advancement, and team-building practices. By cultivating inclusive leadership at the top, she changed not only the makeup of GM's executive ranks, but also the way the company thinks about innovation and problem-solving. More than anything, Mary redefined what leadership can look like. She showed that it doesn't have to be brash or performative. It can be thoughtful, emotionally intelligent, and deeply values-driven. Her belief in qualities like empathy, collaboration, and resilience, long undervalued in corporate leadership, is reshaping what it means to be an effective CEO in the 21st century. Mary didn't just prove that a woman can lead a global automaker. She proved that a different kind of leadership can thrive in the most traditional of industries. She didn't just break the mold, she built a new one, and in doing so, opened the door for a new generation of women to lead boldly, bravely, and on their own terms. Mary's impact reaches far beyond General Motors. As the first female CEO of a major automaker, she shattered glass ceilings and then built pathways for others to rise. She's become a global voice for sustainability, innovation, and inclusive leadership, serving on influential boards and shaping policy. But for Mary, true leadership isn't about being the first. It's about making sure you're not the last. She actively champions women in STEM, equal pay, and mentorship, pushing for lasting change within and beyond the automotive world. Young women everywhere now see her as proof that leadership doesn't have one look, it has many. Through empathy, accountability, and bold vision, Mary is redefining what power can look like in the 21st century. Her story shows us that when women lead, industries don't just evolve, they transform for good. Mary isn't just a CEO, she's a living blueprint for a new era of leadership. She's shown that you don't have to fit the mold to lead, you can reshape it. Her story reminds us that courage, integrity, and empathy aren't soft traits, they're the core of effective leadership in today's world. So, what about you? You don't need to lead like anyone else, lead like you. Because the world needs leaders who listen, build, and believe. Whether you're in tech, business, education, or community work, your voice matters, your ideas matter. You don't need a title to lead. What you need is a vision and the will to act on it. Mary is steering the future toward innovation, equity, and sustainability. She's opened the road. Now the question is, are you ready to take the wheel and drive your own change?